Survey report at Uganda Media Center in Kampala said that this is an indicator that Uganda will achieve the global target of ending HIV/AIDS by 2030.
Thank you.
HIV prevalence. The results of the 2020 UFIA indicate that the current prevalence of HIV among adults aged 15 to 49 years in Uganda is 5.5%, 7.1% among women, and 3.8% among men, reflecting a slight decrease from 6% in UFIA 2016-17, which was 7.5% among women and 4.3% among men. In the entire UFIA 2020 survey, samples of adults aged 15 years and older, HIV prevalence was 5.8%, 7.2% among women and 4.3% among men, corresponding to approximately 1.3 million adults living with HIV in Uganda. The prevalence of HIV in adults 15 years and above was higher in urban areas at 7.1% than in rural areas at 5.2%. I'll now break the HIV prevalence by region. The magnitude of HIV prevalence varied considerably across the 11 geographic regions in the survey, from a low of 2.1% in northeast, that is Karamoja region, to 2.8% in West Nile region, 4.2% in mid-eastern region, 4.2% in northeast, that is Teso region, 4.5% east central or Busoga region, 5.5% in mid-western region, 6.0% in Kampala, 6.2% in Central 2, which includes Greater Mubende, Luwero, and Mukono regions, 6.3% in Southwestern region, 7.6% in Mid-North region, and 8.1% in Central 1 region that comprises the Greater Masaka.
Now, boycotting of parliamentary sittings by opposition members of parliament has been described by government as an act of cheating constituents. Minister for Information, Communication, Technology and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, describes the act as a diversionary attempt on government's pursuit against ADF rebels. Baryomunsi challenges opposition politicians to provide enough details of people they describe as torture victims and missing persons to aid effective investigations.
Good luck. Next item.
The concerns by these opposition members of parliament came to the forefront on Thursday last week. They were aggrieved by what they described as increasing cases of torture, abductions and extrajudicial killings.
Freedom! We want freedom!
They consequently announced a boycott of parliamentary sittings for 2 weeks.
By the meantime, we shall be coming back here every day to update the country of our next course of action.
Their concerns did not go unnoticed. A few days later, Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Wilson Muruli Mukasa, presented a report before Parliament.
Torture is not a policy of government, nor is it even a method of interrogation. And there is indeed a law about this, and the law is very clear. His Excellency the President has, in his own words, stated this position and policy of government many times.
As an emphasis on government position against acts of torture and extrajudicial killings, Minister for Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi has spoken.
So part of these efforts are just to divert Ugandans from that fight against the ADF in order to ensure that we flush out terrorism and ensure that Ugandans have peace and security. So we shall not allow to be diverted. If there are cases of criminality, the state will definitely handle those cases.
It is because of similar reasons that Baryomunsi is against parliamentary boycott by opposition-leaning legislators.
Our record is very clear that respect for human and people's rights, promotion of human dignity has been at the forefront of the NRM governance. So there is no reason whatsoever at this point in time why the NRM would promote torture or would harass and torture suspects even if they are opposed to the government.
The concern may be genuine, but the approach is not, according to Dr. Chris Baryomunsi.
If they feel the best way of serving their constituents is working out, we have no grudge with them, but for us who feel we must bring all the issues from our constituencies, issues of the country in Parliament, for us we shall remain in Parliament and bring whatever grievances, whatever issues we have on the floor of Parliament, because we think as a member of Parliament, that's where I can take the concerns, particularly of the people who voted me into that Parliament.
With such guidance, how far will the legislators go with their boycott? And how successful will a censure motion against Security Minister General Jim Muhwezi go? Henry Okrut, UBC.
As we step into the world of business, the Bank of Uganda has been advised to find ways of either withdrawing banknotes bearing the late governor's signature, which are currently in circulation, or to introduce an amendment in the current law. In an interview with UBC TV, lawyer Fred Mwema of Mwema and Company Advocates says these notes have suffered an impaired legal status, and the Bank of Uganda tried to oversimplify a complex legal issue without offering legal basis.
There seems to be divided thoughts on the issue concerning the legality of banknotes bearing the signature of former Governor the late Musime Mutebire. Last week, Bank of Uganda advised the public to disregard what they called quote-unquote false information circulating on social media, claiming that the banknotes bearing the signature of the former governor expired upon his demise. The central bank further clarified that the banknotes remain legal tender until they are determined otherwise by the Bank of Uganda, which is the only lawful authority entrusted with the mandate to issue currency banknotes. However, lawyer Fred Mwema of Mwema and Company Advocates says Bank of Uganda's assertions need to be opened up to more scrutiny.
Bank of Uganda would have, first of all, come out and notify the public about the effect of the demise of the governor whose signature appears on the notes, and also advise the public about the steps that would be taken, which is withdrawal of the notes, steps taken to replace that missing signature with the signature of either the deputy, who by law can sign on behalf, or with the signature of a substantial governor.
Mwema adds that the governor's signature on the banknote is personal to the holder, and it ceases to exist when the maker ceases to exist.
And I don't even know that it is possible under the law to extend the validity window for that signature, because under the law, once somebody dies and they have an electronic signature like it appears on the money. Yes, the electronic signature is revoked automatically.
Fred Mwema further stresses that he doesn't intend to sue the government on the matter, but is rather offering a legal opinion.
The tender is legal. If Mr. Mwema rendered an opinion that the tender is illegal, he's wrong.
I gave my opinion. So if somebody thinks I was wrong or right, they can also express their opinion.
Samuel Senono, UBC News.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily bundle of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 25 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 65 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 165 MBs. Dial *150*10# or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
Raising voices.
Like other fathers across Uganda, I'm standing up to say no to violence against children. I commit to give my children a violence-free childhood. As fathers, we can make Uganda safer for our children. I promise to speak out when I see violence.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175*94# to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175*94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
COVID-19 is still here with us. As Sheikh Ramadan Muwajjeh, the Mufti of Uganda, states, let us all take the necessary precautions.
Prevention is always better than cure. Let's not go for prayers in mosques, congregational prayers, unless we are masked. Carry your own prayer mat. Sanitize at the entrance. Let's all value the gift of life.
Because of the new COVID-19 circulating variants like Omicron, it is very important for all of us to be fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the same vaccine type. It's only those getting Johnson & Johnson who receive only a single dose to be fully protected.
Even after vaccination, continue to adhere to all SOPs by wearing a mask properly, covering your mouth and nose, washing your hands regularly with soap and clean water or using an alcohol-based sanitizer, maintaining physical distance of at least 2 meters from others and avoiding crowds. Echa COVID-19, chija kugwa. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
Start the year off with My Airtel 4G smartphone. You get to enjoy free 1 GB data valid for a month and 100% bonus data every month for 3 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. This includes free data spread over 3 months worth 86,500 Uganda shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 Uganda shillings only. Visit the nearest Airtel shop and get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Hello, hello, and once again, this is our time where we get to engage our guest. Like I introduced before the beginning of the news, that we will be delving into public health, and this simply means promoting the welfare of the entire population. Of course, in other words, protecting the public from things that, like the pandemics, you know, the infectious diseases, the environment, or the hazards within the environment, and of course, it is more of ensuring access as well to safe and quality healthcare benefits for the population. In studios, we have Theopista Kokokora, the population and reproductive health specialist working with World Health Organization, but of course in partnership with Ministry of Health, and she's here to shed more light into this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Patricia. My pleasure.
Now, a little bit, we know that when we talk about public health, we are basically talking about the protection of the entire population, health protection for the entire population. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Oh yes, so one thing that I need to tell you, thank you very much, Patricia, for introducing me. I'm Theopista Kokokora from the Reproductive Health Specialization, and I'm lucky to be here at UBC, Uganda. You talked about health, but we need to first understand what health is. Health is a complete well-being of a person. We are talking about socially, physically, psychologically, and actually sexually. And so when we talk about public, it's more than a community. A community is just a group of people who share specific characteristics, specific demographic dividends. But a public is more than a community. So you're looking at Uganda as a public. Of course, we are always hit by different diseases. And one point in time now that we're talking about is COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Oh yes, sure.
Mm-hmm. So how do you step in as you know, a reproductive specialist? How do you step into this this area?
Yes, as a reproductive health specialist, you know, this time around, COVID-19 has brought a lot of challenges. You realize that there has been hiking of cases which have caused both physical torture. Look at, for example, if you have COVID-19, how would you feel? The health would not be, of course, good. And as a reproductive health personnel, I'm looking at children, other youth, teenage pregnancies, women not accessing care, children getting sick, and actually even their parents fear to take them to the hospitals because they fear they're going to contract the COVID-19. So these are pertinent issues that we have to discuss actually right now, so that we understand what strategies we can put across to try to prevent them.
When we talk about the area of reproduction, during the lockdown, let's say the 2 years lockdown, you know, period has affected many, not just the girl child, but the parents as well, because their hope was that after 2 years, my daughter may get back to school. But now, due to the fact that there's a lot of idleness, things happen, and some of the girls have gotten pregnant. So how are we assisting, you know, people in this kind of situation?
I want to, thank you very much, Patricia. I want to first take you back to the facts of what is happening with COVID-19. Research by Rebecca Twinamasco, actually, evidence, this is an officer from Makerere University, he evidences that in Kampala, here where we are, COVID-19 has affected a lot. You can imagine 70% of the people are denied access to food. Basic food, nutrition is now getting down, and that's part of my specialization, population and reproductive health. Education has been affected by 77.1%. Drop on daily income. Actually, drop on daily income is very important for us as health personnel, because if you don't have any income, you cannot access good quality services. And then most of the people have had domestic violence. A quarter of the community have suffered domestic violence.
So now, due to these kind of challenges that are facing the public, we do expect child pregnancies.
Of course, so many of them. I'll give you evidence of that.
Okay. Okay. So explain more of those challenges.
So to begin with, when you talk about teenage pregnancy, it's quite a big topic to discuss. But to break it down, this COVID-19 has led to lockdown. You know, lockdown. People have been locked, and it has caused psychological those challenges.
A lot of idleness.
A lot of idleness, a lot of disorder, and in fact, children have matured so fast. And in so doing, they have resulted to teenage pregnancies as a result of early child marriages, early sexual encounters, early menarche. Menarche is a time when a girl like you experiences your first menstruation period. It has matured so early as 9 years
Fortunately,
old.
I'm a woman now.
Oh, and you have a child.
I have 7 children.
7 children?
Okay, let's continue.
All right. So you will realize that your girl children have matured quite fast. So by the age of 19, they are already experiencing their menstruation period. And we say what? We say that when any woman experiences a menstruation period,
they're already women now. They are grown.
They are ripe enough. So that has exposed them. And of course, the lockdown has done acceleration of exposure because they didn't have anything to do.
Okay, so do we have any prevention measures at the moment?
Oh yes, many organizations, governmental and non-governmental organizations, are coming up with different strategies. One of them is to encourage even the girl children to go back to school. Those that have had pregnancy and have had sexual-related complications, they are accepted to go back to school. But you'll also find out that there are some that are going to say, I really can't go to school.
I can't go back now.
Yes, because it's a shame.
Stigma.
You know?
Yes.
Too much stigma in the community. So those are the strategies we are trying to put across.
Okay.
Of course, UNFPA, UNDP, and other Ministry of Health have those strategies that are putting across.
Okay, and of course, when you say Ministry of Health has those strategies,
yes,
we are trying to mean that the health campaigns that are coming out to encourage this girl child to go back to school.
Exactly, and that's why I'm here also.
Okay.
So you realize that when a girl is pregnant, there are lots of things which take place in her body. Psychologically, physically, she's no longer becoming a model. Psychologically, she's feeling of committing suicide, of of aborting, and aborting has its own complications. Of course, they're also weak. They are not yet mature enough
to carry the
pregnancy to 9 months. That is what we call to term. So I'm here particularly to discuss so that we can get strategies potent enough to make sure that girl children are empowered.
I think it can start with the right from home. If we can talk to the parents before we encourage these young ones, I think the parents should be involved in such campaigns so that they know, first of all, they should know the implications of this child getting pregnant early, and then at the same time the implications of her getting pregnant and raising a child at her age, because she's stepping into something at a very early stage. So
at a vulnerable stage, we call it vulnerability.
So if you're here to discuss issues like that, I'm a mother. My firstborn is at university right now. She's she's actually completing her 3rd year in May. So she'll be graduating very soon. So I can just imagine my daughter being pregnant. I know what a pregnant woman goes through. Even after 5 children, 7 children, the experiences are still very different. Now for, I don't know how you call the women that are just giving birth for the first time. It's very challenging for them.
It's very challenging.
At that particular moment, they're not thinking of the future.
No.
There's no future for them. It's about the baby, the pregnancy, the health, and that's it. So
of course,
it should start with us, the mothers.
Because I was coming from deep down Wundibujo districts, and you can't imagine, Patricia. Children are producing children and other children and other children. And so I actually got a 14-year-old girl who had a 2nd pregnancy at 14 years. And it was painful to me. I mean, that is one example of the girls I've told you about. But she was passionately saying that she can no longer see the future. And the parents have thrown her out of the home. So it is it's a point to talk about because it exposes too much vulnerability. And remember, adolescents now carry more than 50% of the population. So if we shy from these important facts,
it should be a big concern at the moment. Yes. And giving birth 2 times
yes.
at an age of 14.
Oh yes, sure.
You could even find that probably one of the relatives is forcing this child into sexual intercourse.
Those are the stories that are in the communities, but of course due to cultural factors, most of these girls do not even mind talking because it's a shame. How can they say that? You know, it's really, really a shame. And a lot of girls are dying inside there. They are dying with their psychological challenges.
So at the moment, for those that have already fallen victim, we can't bring preventive measures. Maybe for the next time, if probably something like this happens to them again, they can fight and see a way to maneuver through this. But for those that have survived that, the 2 years down the road, they've not gotten pregnant, they've kept themselves safe, the parents have been very concerned, we continue to urge the parents to really take good care of their little ones. The girls are the mothers of this country.
Sure.
They're the mothers of the next generation.
Right.
We as mothers should stand out and fight for our little ones. When my daughter comes and tells me that daddy was touching me in a funny way, my mother should be concerned. You can't just shun away, you know, why do you talk about your father like that? No, you really need to raise concern about an issue like this. And we need to make these girls our friends.
Yeah, sure.
I think that would be one of the things that would solve some of these issues. Yeah.
And of course to add is that according to the Uganda police reports, 4,442 girls have been defiled. Can you imagine
defilement?
That? Yes. Within a period of 3 months.
3 months.
From January to April 2020. And you can imagine that 800 cases of sexual abuse have been reported from Jan to May. You can imagine that huge magnitude of need for us to speak up. But also realize that 334,000 teenage pregnancies have happened in the year 2020.
That's a big number.
Exactly.
That's a big number.
It's quite a huge number which we cannot share.
Yes, we wind up, we thank you so much, therapist, for coming in to shed more light on public health, but more so on the reproductive health. And we know that the public out there must have picked 1 or 2 from what we have discussed. And I think we can engage more into this in the near future. We will call you in to delve more into this, because it is my and your job to be able to protect the girl child and also speak more about public health and reproductive systems. Thank you so much for being a part of us. Thank you so much, therapist.
You're welcome.
Okay. My name is Patricia Lokomampango. It has been a very good afternoon, and it is to you.